old monument stands in the middle of the traffic. A silver plaque. Not a good track record of mental health in that family. A lorry stuck.
Hola, wandering man. How can I help you? My friend, I respect the right to roam. The open range awaits. I don't operate in that capacity. I'm not a granter of passage. The passage
Beneath the jolliness, if it's so simple, why did the scab leader warn you of the guards blocking the way?
Aye. Walk right past measure. Yeah, the 2.5 meter tall Semini supremacist up there. Walk right, then press the button to unlock, then go past him again, and you enter the arbor through the office. Está. Don't worry, I'm sure it's not completely impossible. For example, or you could convert to his Semini supremacist worldview. Or, maybe it actually is completely impossible. Jean-Luc himself would say the philosophy has proven overly heroic for the scabs to convert to. Not yet, no. He's sure. Sure thing, my friend. I can help you out.
The coin narrowly slips by.
Oh, I'm sorry. Didn't mean to throw it like that. It's a thing was not meant as provocation or ridicule.
The boyardero stares at you with respect. Then, just...
Right, always glad to help out the RCM. We're on the same branch, you and I.
Hello again, officer. Excuse me?
She's uncomfortable. Maybe you should drop this line of... She shifts in her... Inside, you see a set of steering levers, a radio microphone, a pull-out toolbox, and the...
This is Precinct 57. How may I assist you? Sure, officer. Got it. I'll contact the ICP database immediately. Call back tomorrow.
The International Collaboration Police, ICP, is an inter-Isoleri law enforcement service. The crown jewel in the...
No, and I doubt they'll get back to me before 57.
In the cabin, you see a set of steering levers, a radio. The white suede feels luxurious under the touch, and as you tap on the gauge, the indicator pin jerks as if...
There's no use pressing the heat button.
Translation. With alternative translation. Don't even think you can drive my MC.
Yes? What do you want to know? I'm afraid you and I are pawns in a
His disdain is clear. This...
You don't know? I assumed you were in on it. Better still than an imbecilic cop-off. It's just stupidity. The cop kind. Our precincts can't decide if Martinez is part of Jamrock or the Industrial Harbor. Yours or mine, as if we somehow own parts of the city. Well, sort of. It's less a matter of who gets to police Martinez. I think the dispatch desk just told both our stations about the hanging. There was quite a brouhaha at the...
So, he volunteered to represent the 57th, but not out of competitiveness. On the contrary.
Martinez? Nothing. It's just a puddle at the end of some drain pipe. No one cares about this place. They care about sports. Most of our colleagues don't even know how to get here. North of the interchange doesn't exist.
The silence carried.
Yes, it's a wholly pointless matter. Forget I ever mentioned it.
Because you're the best qualified. No, that doesn't seem right. If you're so well qualified, why can't you remember why you were sent?
What do you want to know? No, it's not a particularly mysterious case. The deceased is a security guard for a corporation involved in a labor dispute. It doesn't take a DeLorean polymath to put the pieces together. I just don't see the case getting more mysterious than that. Then you are in luck, because we are in the midst.
Is this a strike then?
I expect the case itself to be less challenging than navigating these community matters. This district isn't used to strike, coup, revolt.
You feel something rising through you, a familiar feeling, an opinion taking form.
Politics is habit-forming and hazardous.
From an imaginary.
Now, was there anything else you wanted to know? Ah, yes. The case brief. 3 days ago, the RCM Emergencies Desk received a report about a security guard who was found. During that time, the victim had been stripped of his belongings. The caller did not identify him, but used the word lynching. There is an ongoing labor dispute between the local dock workers and the logistics company, while they didn't identify themselves in any way. The tone was muffled using a device of some sort. There's a strong prejudice against involving the RCM in what's seen as union matters. The dock workers union is the de facto police in Martinez. That's right. You mean like a brief? 3 days ago, during that time, the victim, a security guard or worker of some sort, hired by Wild Pines. This was just, they didn't identify. There's a strong prejudice against involving the RCM in what's seen as union. That's us. The Revachol Citizens Militia.
The RCM, or the Revachol Citizen Militia, is the police force you and him are part.
Just to be clear, we are police officers. It's good. Me? I don't see how my life is pertinent to the investigation. That's a fair point. All right, for the good of the investigation, what do you want to know? That's correct.
You feel a slight urge to put the lieutenant down for this, but you can't quite muster enough testosterone.
Are they? They are more.
You could use a good, normal peer yourself.
Good. Let's change the subject.
Hello again, sweetie.
The lieutenant nods politely.
Why, you are, officer. And have you found anyone to be sweet to? I'm sorry if I was being overly familiar. You must forgive me. I'm Lena. My husband Morel and I are staying with our friend Gary just down the street, but I come here for tea when they're away.
This Lena is wacky enough for the motley crew. Hire her on the spot.
Oh, I'm perfectly all right. I'm more worried about you. What was that? Don't beat yourself up over it too much, dear. People do strange things when the old fight or flight kicks in. I'm just glad you weren't injured. Yes, officer. You look rather dazed. Like a stunned fox. But surely things can't be that bad. Oh my. You know where we are, right? That's right. And where is the Whirling in Rags cafeteria? Yes, indeed. We are in the fine city of Revachol. Yes, and Revachol? How would I even begin to tell you? Revachol is the... I haven't seen very many other cities personally. Speaking of history, you know what year it is, yes? That's right, dear. How splendid. Here, take this pen.
Her relief is palpable. She was...
I can tell that this is taxing for you, so I'll just ask one more question. What regime are we living under? What mode of government? Nope, sadly not. Revachol is what's called a zone of control, under an alliance of foreign powers called the Coalition. Oh dear. And you were doing so well. But we should stop for today, sweetie. You look like you need a break.
She's scared now. She's realized you really are brain damaged.
Someone more educated in sweeping matters.
No. I'm not an encyclopedia.
Of course. Then I don't know. Someone rich, maybe? Wealthy people are educated. Though I don't know where you would find a... Of course, dear.
That sugary black rum stain on the counter makes you teary-eyed with joy. It's almost touching how syrupy and sticky it is. How long? An hour would have been bad. 2 hours is mystical. You have truly wiped out all trace of yourself if you haven't thought about rum and maybe later. What is this? Casual Friday? What happened, man? It would go well with those cigarettes. On the counter, rolled out of his open hand, you see a blister pack of headache medicine. There is only one way to wake this bone idol from his slumber. Roar like a hurricane. Rip the buildings from the earth.
Why the yelling, man?
Looks like a Sow descendant. A lot of Sow dock workers around.
Wait, what? I was just sleeping. What do you want, officer? Indeed. Help yourself to some. Wait, no. Oh, it's empty. Sorry, Nate got it. Majoret's got it. He's guarding the gate. That's the name of my employee.
He doesn't sound too enthusiastic.
How's it going? Haven't you noticed what's going on outside? Good. Then you went for one. I can get... We are. The workers. The union. We know what we need. What's right for us. Okay. I guess there's also Everard. He's in charge. Yeah. What about it? You know, people die here every day. If someone has decided to die on top of a tree, I can tell you this. You heard what I said?
The lieutenant gives you a little... So Union people think he was a killer, he thinks. Even sleepy hair. This doesn't help a lot, but it's something. Good work, detective.
Thank God, no.
The worker stares at you. His eyes...
I don't know what you're talking about, kind sir.
A little me time in the abyssal pelagic zone. You can never return to it. The dock worker doesn't answer. His... A thin man is smoking below an exhaust hood. As you step in, he nods toward the table. Okay, it's definitely not his name. Whatever you do, please don't call him Garancy Quebec. Please. It's not funny. The man puts his cup down and replies something. His left hand drawing. He smiles and bangs his ladle. It's almost like music, especially with the sounds of assorted dishes boiling and simmering on the stove. You see a heavy... You immediately feel drawn to the color. Blue is...
You do? It's a door in the back of the kitchen. Why do you care where it leads? Eccentric. But okay.
He's not bothered by your eccentricity. He seems genuinely intrigued himself.
If you say so, Gart is the person to ask about this.
The door does not. The cobalt blue surface feels...
Can I help you? Another thing. Great. I love them. Yes, not the whole damn union, thank God. Just the nastiest and... They come here in the evenings.
We should find out who this loud faction is, occupying the booth. Loudness means talkative, and we need info. We don't. We have to wait.
You glance at the clock on the wall behind the manager. Huh.
Good question.
They're probably getting drunk or protesting something somewhere. They probably fucking
I have a feeling we'll make the...
Oh, yes, that door, sure. There's nothing mysterious about... No, I don't have a key. I don't know how to get there. Or some boring storage space with a bunch of old junk.
He's attempting to maintain an air of indifference. It's absolutely not.
Fine, okay, a little. But So, I haven't opened it. I have cleaned the whole place 100 times over, though. After the animals. And I haven't... Yes?
You see a heavy steel. The door does not. The door is closed. There is no answer. You hear the shower being... A tremendous loneliness comes over you. Everybody in the world is doing something without you. The door is closed. Still no answer. Still, the lieutenant, he doesn't like where this is going. The fan stands still. The lights are on. The window stands broken in its frame. The shards face outward. Whatever broke this window came from the... A fine web of scarring covers the back of your... More likely a projectile than a held object. There are no fragments on the floor from pulling a tool back in after. It is too large for a bullet. The shoe you found on the balcony fits the hole almost as well. Congratulations. You smashed the window with your own shoe. Pretty much. But hey, not that it will keep you warm at night. The bed is cold and not particularly empty.
The option to go to sleep becomes available every night after...
A mirror hangs on the bathroom wall. In it, your face, adorned with the expression. A mirror hangs on the bathroom wall. In it, the faucet is quite terribly mad. You handle the chain cutters deftly, applying just told you that you needed those chain. The mirror begins to clear slowly without you having to wipe it. Kim also tries not to look at the pile of taped viscera on the carpet, or the weird suitcase on the hat rack.
No problem, officer.
The door is closed. Still, the lieutenant, he doesn't like where this is. This door can only be opened with... The man ponders his cook. He looks up at you. Then, shrugging is an international sign for no. You see a heavy...
Can I help you? Yes, have you got it? A lot. For the room? Like what?
A striking woman leans against the cabin top of her sailing boat.
Good evening, officers. I'm Joyce L. Messier. I represent the board of Wild Pines, the owners of the harbour. You gentlemen must be from the RCM. I'm glad to see you here. I was dispatched to handle a strike, not a lynching. Anything I can do to assist the...
That is good to hear, madame. My colleague will take the lead on this interview. I should let you know that he is recovering from an unusual medical episode. Very unusual.
How interesting. I wish you a swift recovery. In the meanwhile, you have my full cooperation, and the full cooperation of the Wild Pines Group. Everything. Right up to, but not including, trade secrets. I believe the official title is Senior Labor Negotiator. In practice, I'm a grocery clerk.
And how are the talks going?
They're not. That's the problem. The union stopped all now they won't even let me into the harbor. There's a 2-meter 20 racist behemoth blocking the gates. Yes, Jean-Luc Measurehead. Let's say I was not making the kind of progress I'd hoped for when I first...
And when did you first?
I arrived 3 weeks ago. Yes, in the middle of February. The bay was still partially frozen then.
But the strike began in this...
I wasn't the original negotiator here. I took over after Mr. Gaumont hit a wall with Mr. Clare, the union.
This isn't the first time the union...
Heavens, no. There have been 2 prior strikes. Both times the union won significant concessions, including overtime pay and a medical plan. This time their demand... Mr. Clare told him to... How did... Fuck off, midget. Gaumont is short of stature, you see. Keep in mind, this is a negotiator Mr. Clare has worked with before, and who was more than fair with... There are leaflets everywhere, and banners. What did they say again? Every worker.
Most of the workers probably don't know what that means.
Fortunately, they explained it. Every time the Wild Pines Group makes a decision about... Just so you understand, this is but one of 22 terminals owned by Wild Pines. Essentially, not only are they kings of the company, they are also kings of the 72,000 employees of Wild Pines Group. I'm not sure. Naturally, I assume that was just their opening position, a hard-nosed tactic with a side of mockery. And now, people are getting lynched, I hear. Behind the whirling in rags.
Excuse me, from whom did you hear?
I first heard it from the bowyer at the gates. The one whose very name advertises his aversion to work.
This checks out.
The scabs? You mean the huddled masses of Jamrock, come to plead for work? If they were organized by Wild Pines or its affiliates, then it...
It's implied. She's open to discussing this matter with you.
Everard Clare is a man of the utmost integrity. Of course not. Everard is fantastically corrupt. I imagine he has a thick, viscous goo where you and I have blood. He is the most corrupt individual I have ever seen, and I deal with men like him for a living. If there is anyone more venal, more irredeemable... Yes, Edgar looks exactly like his brother, except for that lazy eye. He also talks exactly like Everard does. It's how they circumvent the term limits, you see, with a funny little switcheroo. While in office, they've embezzled God knows how much of their workers' dues. The Débardeurs Union was once a perfectly normal institution. 20 years ago, anyway. It must not have been easy to establish organized labor at its best, as they say. Then something happened in the local chapter elections. The brothers Clare came and
A mob. The Débardeurs are a crime syndicate. Sad as it may be, I suspect we'll be forced to cooperate.
Refreshingly honest, officer. The company has tried appeasing in the past. And your opinion, detective? If I may ask. I'm a curious and talkative person, you see. Would you say the Débardeurs Union is... Of course, officer. I'm glad you asked. There was a woman, the previous forewoman of the...
Disappeared?
Yes. On the last day of the local chapter elections, her daughter phoned in and said she wasn't running anymore, or coming to work. Ever. End of story. Indeed. The company suspects foul play. The point of the presentation is, these kind...
Thank you for your concern, ma'am. We'll be just fine.
Of course. How else? Why, yes I am. Of course there are. We're on an archipelago. How else are you supposed to get around?
There is a pinch of defensiveness in her voice, but it is playful.
I mean, we are on Le Caillou, are we not? We are. And the city of Revachol is on the island of Le Caillou.
She nods attentively.
Good. What we do. I'm afraid I don't speak for Wild Pines as a whole. The Pines' core competency is logistics. And that is the terminal. Another subdivision deals with energy, oil and gas.
The Wild Pines Group is one of the original Revacholian Indo-tribes. Companies awarded royal monopolies, Saint-Baptiste, LUM, an unknown entity known as Brightest Star.
Why, thank you.
She nods.
Quite a few things, I'm afraid. The information I'm to share with you includes sensitive trade secrets. For the sake of my employer, I have...
Of course, ma'am. We should have introduced ourselves. And this is my colleague from Precinct 41. I'm afraid he doesn't have his badge at the moment.
How curious. Why is that, Detective?
Awkwardness washes over the conversation. The woman doesn't like this turn of events.
I see. So, are you saying you lost your badge during the course of this episode? I can't hear you, darling. Speak up, please. Oh, dear. I do believe you, naive as that.
As I said, ma'am, his technique may be very unconventional, but he is...
Of course, I sympathize, but I'm afraid I simply can't...
Hang on. She's a professional negotiator. She should be open to some sort of mutually beneficial arrangement. She's a negotiator. Just float a favorite.
I will be frank with you. If I'm going to break protocol, I need to be able to justify...
You're in, but
Reports from inside Terminal B suggest it's a hub for the local drug trade.
They're profiting from this trade.
The company has tried looking into this matter before, to no avail. Perhaps someone with your authority and resources might turn over the right stones. Or you can recover your badge, though...
Detective, a word in private before we continue. This is not going quite as I hoped it would, Detective. Honestly, I was expecting you to use your unorthodox technique to keep her off balance, and not volunteer us to be her henchmen. This woman is running circles around us. She might have known about your misplaced...
He doesn't let it show, but there is a limit to how much the consequences of your unprofessional behavior can cost the investigation.
I'm sure you will, Detective. Oh, that would be fantastic, but do we have the time?
The situation might have changed drastically.
You could request a new one from the station, but that would literally take months.
You're back. Good. What can I help you with?
Is what you want to say, but it isn't that. Look at that lady. Take a gander. Squint your eye. Why, yes. Tucked away under that sturdy green raincoat, almost rustic in its while dull orange pearls. These are the kind eyes of the rich man that's seen within reason. Now look at you. You misery-clad. You're poor. Poor as balls. You can't ask this person for money. You're too... Maybe you could ask her for...
As I was saying, if there's any way I may be of assistance, please don't hesitate to ask. This reality. Of course, the situation is precarious. It's quite straightforward. Someone is using
Ingredients for...
meth and dextroamphetamine, GBL, and various synthetic psychedelics. Honestly, it might be quicker to say what you can't. Yes. After they clear the term...
Wild Pine seems to be well appraised.
We're in logistics. It's our business. Yes, but you won't get anything out of Everart and the Dock Workers Union. Still, every chain has...
The handoff. The motor lorries at the roundabout.
Precisely. Someone needs to move the ingredients from the harbour into the city. Once they reach... Perhaps you've noticed that a number of lorries are tangled in a traffic jam at the roundabout. I'll be explicit. If you find this driver, I will share company secrets with you. How do you think they're financing this strike? There are thousands of unpaid dock workers.
There was a shakedown of local businesses preceding the strike.
With all due respect to these desert cacti, the contents of a few cash registers cannot provide for 2,000 men. The local businesses can scarcely provide for themselves. Precisely. Smuggled out of that very gate at night, most likely, then loaded onto lorries and driven to Jamrock. You simply need to find one driver who will open... Yes? I'm very sad to hear that, officer. If you change your mind, in the meantime, I'll still, of course, detect.
A sturdy metal door. This could be a way into the apartment building. The door rattles against your knuckles. A sturdy... The door rattles again.
Stop banging on the door! I'm not letting any more strangers inside. Ha! The police? Everyone knows the police don't come round here. No. I already Go check the backyard door. Maybe someone there will.
Backyard door. With the smoker. You already were there. Didn't work.
Good. We had enough problems with bums and drunks and thieves loitering in the hallway. You have no business here.
You're well versed in the kind of threatening legalese that implies criminal liability, but in fact has no meaning.
I know my rights, and don't you marm me.
Miss, would it help if we...
Hold your horses. I don't care about your stinking badge. Just come in. Give me a moment. The cold never does any good for my bronchitis. Go ahead then.
She's the cleaning lady. She knows the floor plan and the residence.
Ask away, policeman. The artiste? Nothing I can do about her, I'm afraid. She leaves an old lady to her business. More than I can say for...
She mumbles.
I know. If you can... It's barely big. Oh, you'll find plenty of Martins here. Don't you worry. Pea-brain. Someone played a trick on you. Martinez is a name for anyone who comes from Martinez.
Oops. You really didn't.
I thought it was obvious. Anyway, officer, we don't have the wit.
Yes, yes. I know who you mean.
Somewhere in the building, a child starts crying.
What's he in trouble for? Talk? He lives upstairs in room 28. Go to the balcony.
Thank you. We should go.
That isn't just a five-pointed star. It's an inverted white pentagram. The star and antlers was even today, half a century after, the star and antlers retains the ability to evoke to symbolize the toppling. Also, the wreath of antlers represents a natural crown because white is the color of peace. Nothing at all yet. Right now. This door is made of metal and number 28. This is...
Let's see if anyone...
No one.
Looks like the young man we are looking for isn't home. I think our best... We should return tomorrow after we have finished with our day's work. How about 9 p.m.? Sound good? Tomorrow, 9 p.m., right here.
Damn. Turns out it's quite Remember, tomorrow. He's probably gone for today. This door has been closed with a padlock. Ruination has come. The broken arches betray the once a great force from the northeast. The tenement acted as a defensive wall against the waves of the Martinez Inlet. What didn't fall into those arches acted as support. Only 3 stories stand where 9 to 12 once did. A fleet. The combined art they massed, many are still there to this day. If you squint, you can just...
The coalition. But that was a long...
He does not like talking politics of this kind.
Ooh, the piggies have learned how to saunter up staircases. I didn't think you could do that with who? Yes, Uncle Maynard. Huge trouble. You're gonna...
That smell coming from her paint bucket. It's not paint. It's heavy fuel oil.
I ain't no snitch.
Actually, there is a shop.
We weren't put on this...
Red-dyed heavy fuel oil intended for exclusive use.
What did you think I was using? Aquarels? Sucked it out of a cop's fuel tank.
She really did it. She's proud of it too.
You ain't seen nothing yet, Piggy Boo. Ooh. Not only have you found my address, you've discovered my biggest secret. It doesn't have to do anything at all. Nothing does anyone in a city like this.
If there's pain about any particular home she's lost, she's buried it deep, fortified herself against it.
Shoot, Piggy.
The purity of snow, always... Yes. The terrain here provides an interesting variety to a familiar game. Yes. It was left by heavy... Why what? Because that's what happens when communists hijack your country, execute your supreme leadership. Commies, communists, socialists, anarchists, call them what you like. They just chose a name to fill... Sadly, no. It was the fault should have fought dirty, like they did with their...
It was probably a bit more complicated than that.
Because this place is a damn beachhead. Had to soften the commies up. Yes. The military code Martinez was used as one of the 3 footholds in Revachol during Operation... This here is Blood Ground.
Blood Ground. You got old René going there. Like he isn't hungry enough already.
Damn right, son. They lit the fire of hell on the rest of the...
Well,
You don't even begin to truly understand the players at the table, let alone the specifics.
Thinking men have opinions on these things. Present one.
No, they don't. But I'm sorry it had to be the Coalition. I would have preferred if the Right Honorable King Guillaume returned to Revachol. Or even if...
This royal failure weighs heavily on him.
Instead, all that is just, holy, and beautiful in the world. This is just what the commies wanted. This was their plan all along. This is what they wanted to replace the role of the suzerain with. Damn Frissel. He was the king we couldn't protect. The Carabineers failed him, and the crown. A true king in both blood and mind led Revachol before Frissel. He would have been better, but the damn commies drove him. The suzerain is the king! Has everyone forgotten already?
Soon, they will forget everything.
It's no use talking to you. You were still in Daddy's borders when it happened. When we took our last stand against the filth and rode the cavalry straight into gunfire.
All you observe is a veteran with...
This is the uniform of the Royal Carabineers in service.
Don't you mean Frissel?
You do not speak his name.
There's something you missed. Wow, you work hard. Oh, yes. You hustle. You're a provider. It's tough out there. Oh, yeah. Like a horse. A work. Look at yourself. You're a human pedometer. You must have walked 200,000. That is the sign of a hustler who never gives up. The world is harsh and people are evil. You didn't make it that way. And you won't let it break you. You ride. That's just what it's like. Life and death. But you got gills on it. It ain't easy. But you do it. Day in and day out. You didn't make the rules, but you won't lose. You're a cop and a sprinter and a money printer. You didn't log that in as a donation either. You don't log any of that shit in. Sure. And has it been easy? Are you rich? That's right. You work harder than anyone. You almost rode yourself to the grave and you're still practically a hobo. Why is that? Because of the taxes. G-Man's got his jam-covered sticky every time you wipe your ass. 98% of all your money. Here you go, hustler. Fight the righteous fight. Free the people. The tear machine stands in the... Your bottles clunk into the machine, and the money... Do you know what you should do with that money? The tear machine stands in the corner. A sign says, 1 bottle equal...
No. You need...
A tarpaulin cloak is still caught on the railing. No one has claimed it for their own. As you leap in the air, a chilly breeze engulfs you, sharpening your senses. As the concrete floor welcomes you, you realize it's been a while since you've...
I knew you could do it. My climbing down might not have been a...
With your feet firmly planted on the concrete.
Yes?
On second glance,
It's unfortunate for the
let's see what's inside, he thinks. The drawer opens smoothly. In hundreds of documents containing logistical data. And the same materials being handed over to company. It's hard to make sense of this thicket of company names, dates, quantities, and percentages. You try to focus. Whatever's hidden here is hidden well. Concentration isn't enough. Only a trained accountant. It appears to be remember, Leo, Everard's shoes. Special whirling borscht. All items on the list have been crossed.
Everard Clare, probably. The head of the Debarders Union.
The special borscht seems a bit odd in the list. What is so special about this borscht? Code for drugs? Booze? Blood? Remember, Leo, Everard's shoes. All items on the list have been... The drawer slides. An imposing combination of a punch clock and a payphone is looking down at you from the wall. A note on the side says, "Tokens unavailable." The machine swallows your coin and seems to be waiting for your... It's unclear whether you actually have muscle memory. Undoubtedly. Sure, why not? Muscle memory is a tricky thing. This is the night watchman's booth. The name on...
If you must. But please hurry. We are
Nothing incriminating catches your eye. The cabinets are clean and there's sparse content. It's a black and white photo of a young... René looks like he's about to smile.
Why did you take that picture of René? You're really interested in that old soldier. Not sure I understand your fascination, but...
control panel with several marsh on arrête. Before you is a walrus of a man seated behind a large desk. He looks with great effort. He straightens himself up.
Welcome, Mr. Dubois, Mr. Kitsuragi. It's good of you two to stop by. Please, have a seat. I'm Everard Clare, head of the Debarders Union here in Martinez. I'd offer you my hand.
He looks extremely comfortable. The tiny folding chair on the...
You go ahead, detective.
Whatever he has in store for you, it can't be. Forget about that. What's with this Dubois stuff? You're getting some seriously bad vibes from that name.
Please, Mr. Dubois, let us converse.
It's nothing. Yes, that's probably right. It's nothing. Forget about it. Filter it out.
Excellent, Mr. Dubois. I can see that you're a reasonable man, So tell me, how can the head of the Debarders...
The chair you're sitting on has got to be the most uncomfortable...
Oh, by the way, I heard you got a rather rude reception from a certain Lawrence. This should take care of that nonsense. It should be sufficient to cover your
Hey, that's 25 real. That's good money. Think of all the stuff you could.
Yes, I know Lawrence. He's a real character. No you...
With a grin, he points to the checker game. It's like you're on a game show. At least don't thank him for it.
Okay. I respect... Now, I'd like to set your mind at ease about one other
His slug-like lips move. The world is swallowed by a black hole of fear. Only 2 words escape its gravitational pull. Lost and gun.
Are you all right, Harry? You say you... It's not like you left it loaded. You didn't lose a loaded gun. Local children aren't out there playing with it right now, pointing it into their own mouths. It's in a safe place. I just know it. I have a feeling everything's going to be all right.
God, you're sweating. Your knee is jerking. You're about to cry, aren't you? You're about to cry because you lost your gun and those children are gonna shoot themselves with it.
Mr. Dubois.
What is this, Mr. Dubois? He keeps repeating. What is he trying...
Mr. Dubois! Mr. Dubois! Harry! Mr. Dubois!
Maybe you could use your hands somehow, in a kind of throw-in motion, like you're throwing that Mr. Dubois act right back at him. He's Mr. Dubois.
What an odd demonstration of, You got me, Harry.
Okay, enough. We are here to ask you...
Quick, here's your window. It is about time to stop embarrassing yourself. Questions will help you regain some of your lost dignity.
Harry, honestly, I'm just relieved you didn't get a hernia. A man your age...
The big man peers at you over the...
Anyway, I assure you, I am a very well-informed man. Information reaches me before I even get the chance to request it. Oh, that's very nice. I haven't gotten around to her yet. I'm very... One thing I want to make very clear, Harry, is that this is not some kind of... Yes, we're all trying to do what's best for... What do you mean, Harry? Nothing. I let him go. He's an old man, Harry. I wanted him to spend more time with his family. God, empty all your barrels on me, Harry. If she actually wants to see me, she will find a way. Any good negotiator...
He doesn't want to see her. It's as simple as that.
Of course, Harry. I have no interest in what she is doing. Tell her about all of it. My brother's picture, my singing swordfish clock. Tell her how overweight I am and how I'm helping you find your...
It is rather interesting to tell people things about each other, isn't it? It was nice telling him about her right now.
Of course. Let us dispatch with the formalities.
That's what the hanged corpse called you. Harry.
My God, so it's true. I didn't want to believe it, but you are a fantastic...
I think the odds of that are very low.
So good to hear that, Harry. Apparently my sources were wrong. However, if you...
Words flow like a...
Are you trying to tell me you've gotten hold of some of our documents?
Mr. Kitsuragi, would you mind? Me and Harry are talking about...
Don't just jump to the folder. That's not smart. Shows you're on the edge. Do some probing first.
Ah, this? My friend...
I find that
I'm afraid this is meant for Union eyes only, Mr. Kitsuragi. I'm sure you understand. Please continue, Harry.
As you look at the folder, Everard covers it with his hand and pets it. He's hiding it from you.
Okay, Harry, you got me. This is from the Census Bureau, not the RCM. Those Census Bureau...
He got the name from the Census Bureau, and everything else from your actions here.
Yes, Mr. Kitsuragi, from the Census...
That means he doesn't really pity. The mystery of you will have to...
Yes, that's what I said. Try to keep up, okay? Let's move on. Oh, of course. That's your main thing here. That's why you're in... I mean, it's no secret that the lynching is connected to the strike. So much to talk about. Honestly, it's been weighing on me so heavily. I understand you need to... But there's a thing that's been keeping me up at night. I want to talk about the hanging. I mean...
Yes, that sounds good.
But I can't think straight with this thing weighing on me. You're police officers, aren't you? I have a crazy idea. You guys are basically door-opening machines. Incredibly talented at opening... Oh, you're being too modest, my...
The stars aligned into a cosmic frown here. He has your fate decided. Bide your time, however, and let the stars continue their course, and that frown shall turn into a smile. Only if you play along.
Harry, I'm a very busy man, and more importantly, I don't have that extra...
You want to send someone a message that the police are working for you.
I repeat, I'm a very, very busy man, Mr. Kitsuragi, and therefore I must occasionally enlist... Oh, no one's. It's just a weasel. A weasel lives there. A loud blabbering weasel. When weasels just go there, unlock the door, and leave it open. It's been such a burden on me, Harry. I just want this... Of course, Harry, I understand. But if that's the case, I don't think we'll ever find your gun. Even worse, we won't be able to speak like equals about the... Perhaps this was just bad timing for you. Know that.
Yes, we both understand.
This may be the only way, he thinks. I won't hold it against you. In fact, we probably should reconsider later.
Yes, your lost gun. My best men are on it. Your gun will be found.
The only way to find it seems to be working with him. He might even be holding your gun hostage. Who knows? Only one thing is certain. If you work with him, you're going to get it back. And working with him might be the only way to do it.
I don't care about my gun. I love it, Harry. Wish I could be like that, but I can't. I have a
The officer is exaggerating. Of course we care about the missing firearm.
The lieutenant is concerned about the lost gun and feels that the fact you haven't prioritized looking...
Excellent, Mr. Kitsuragi. That's excellent news. Looks like we have a friendly gun-finding competition on our hands. Wait. You need this to get in and out through the gate. Here. You're one of us now.
We should think about calling it a day, maybe. The nights are still miserable. We should take care of that, then. Let's talk to him anyway. An officer...
Though he finds this situation frustrating... The lyrics to this container song, the accent is so thick, it's impossible not to notice he's Ubi.
Container, you...
Lorry stuck, yet the windows are clear. The back end of the...
Racist nationalist paraphernalia. Not a new...
The driver has...
Can I help you? Yes, have you got it? Does that arrangement include you paying me what we already agreed you owe me?
I understand your predicament as the manager. I feel I must remind you that we are here to conduct an important...
Forgive me for saying this, but your colleagues... I mean no offense. It's really nothing personal. I just have to protect the interests of this establishment. Not until you bring me...
Okay. I might have something in my motto.
I really didn't want to resort to this.
Oh, Lieutenant. We're done here.
Inside, you see a set of steering levers, a radio mic.
I have something here we could sell.
Transport enclosure. The cage at the back of the...
I confiscated this for a little while back. We can take them to the pawn shop down by the Martinez Canal. There are spinner hubcaps, frivolous things you put on your wheels. When the wheels come to a stop, the caps keep on spinning. There's no real use for them, it's just for vanity. Yes, there's one 100 meters south of here.
Items that can be pawned at Bird's Nest Roy's appear in your inventory under the Items tab.
A couple of weeks ago, I stopped a young man for going slower than the speed of traffic. Turns... I took them and arrested him for driving under the influence. That they are. I was going to take them into evidence, but they weren't necessary for conviction. No, that would be silly. I just...
The spinners shine so bright they reflect on the lieutenant's glasses. He doesn't say. The lieutenant nods as you take the spinner. You see rows of toy soldiers guarding. Try to find something pretty and cool here. Yes. Buy something nice. A figurine. Why? What's this? A headless man riding a horse?
Oh, that's the headless phone rider. There's been a lot of interest in that
He doesn't elaborate on these wrong...
I've heard about it. I've heard the headless phone rider, right?
Yes, there are several The headless phone rider. 50 cents. Bargain price.
He lost his cap when he lost his head. Perhaps he's looking for the head.
Did I mention that this figurine is supposed to be lucky?
They're not all blue. These figurines also wear gold coats and caps.
This is what the loyalists look like, yes.
Which ones? Ah, royalist soldiers from the time of the revolution.
Big men on big horses.
Franco-Nigerian...
A long, long time ago. This set...
You're probably talking about... I think their poverty has been exaggerated for effect. When you place them next to the royalists, it doesn't seem like they could possibly win. Maybe.
He seems to have his own...
It's not often that What can I do for you?
His courtesy is not insincere, but he prefers being alone with his projector, just watching the movement of light across the walls of the shop.
I haven't had any problems myself.
Who are your customers?
All kinds of people come through here. As you can see, I have a wide selection of goods for everyone to choose from. It keeps me
entertained. He might be high. If he is, on what?
Someone else came here earlier today asking the same question.
This is a pawn shop, and it did feel as if you've met before. The lieutenant shifts from one foot to another, alert.
She didn't seem like a policeman, although she kept truth be told.
Right, so let me get this right. You sold your sidearm, issued by the city...
Miraculously, his face does not reveal what's happening inside.
You're right that she could cast aspersions on the Force. We have to find her.
You were adamant about getting rid of it, officer. Said you were, and I don't like keeping guns around the shop for long.
He's not telling you the whole story. It seems he's trying to spare you.
You weren't quiet. You were very distraught. You said the gun was... When I said that I don't normally buy firearms, you put the gun barrel in your mouth and sort of sucked on it. Then I agreed to take it. Right.
The lieutenant looks from you to Roy. This has got to be the most. There's pity there too, in case you didn't notice.
It certainly does. My apologies, officer.
A needle in a haystack. There is nothing you can do about it, right?
Maybe. Shady-looking guys came in here yesterday. Look, they went their way.
Maybe Claire really is tracking down your gun.
Of course. Sure thing. Sure, man.
Yes, we'd like to sell these up.
Roy takes the hubcaps from the lieutenant and...
Yes, these are very, very good. Did you defraud some foreign prince for...
No one was defrauded or jumped, I assure you.
Of course.
Thank you. Here's the 100 real you need for your bill. Do not waste it.
The windfall is a small...
Anything else you're thinking of selling? Oh, no. I don't like those kind of photic paths, counter-radiance networks, anti-magnetism. It's darkness. That's all I know. Anything else you're thinking of selling? Another time, perhaps. I doubt it. I do my best to keep my distance from all manner of butch. The corpse behind the hostel, I assume. Ask around the harbour. There might be...
The pawnbroker's gaze is already fixed on the dancing. Okay, he definitely is. Looking at his wares, a guarded man like him. Indirect modes of taxation. Turns out, those Financial Oversight Committee gangsters stuffed millions of hard-earned dividends away in the last place anyone thought to look. The boomboxes on the shelf look well up. One especially catches your eye. This is you. Gold, just make sure it works before you buy it.
If police work means playing tape...
Like a beach party. With sand and...
For sure. Is the Harman Welshie W2. Made in Vespa. Designed in Seoul. Plays all reel-to-reel...
The dented yellow mailbox greets you with its graffito.
does Kuno care? Kuno does...
Can I help you? Yes. Have you got... Well? Great. Thank you, officer. That's all I wanted. Payment for services rendered. If you can, I'll unlock the electronic lock to your room. All the doors lock automatically. Please pay for each night.
I'll take a room here too.
Of course. Always happy to have officers from the RCM as guests. Anything else?
The door is still. No, the lieutenant, he doesn't like where this is going. Still, the lieutenant, he doesn't like. This is the door to the room you redecorated.
Just a moment. We should talk about our progress on the...
The air outside is brisk. The lieutenant is silent for a moment. He listens to the traffic hum. Then...
Now then, we should talk about the investigation. But I also feel you're a bit hazy on the RCM. I have a cigarette every night when I go over.
Oh man, he looks so devastatingly...
I apologize, but I only brought one with me. I have exactly one cigarette every night while going over my notes. You mean this? This isn't cool. It's an unnecessary trial of will. And unhappy, yes. It's been a long and eventful day. Well, we inspected the victim's body, so that's, I would say, our initial The body is still hanging from that tree, which is...
He is not particularly satisfied with your progress, but he doesn't want you to feel completely discouraged. Probably out of fear that you'll just give up and keep drinking.
I look forward to that. We conducted an interview with Evra. He wasn't particularly forthcoming with useful information, however. Well, we will have to work. Claire also helped you, how should I say, remember your name? That's a relief. That's normal. We talked to Joyce Messier, but didn't get any information from her. Above all, though, today was exhausting. What's with all the running? You run a lot.
I have a really good theory about why you're running so fast, son. Just you wait until we get up tomorrow.
It's impressive, especially for a man your age. Nice shoes, by the way. I like the green. Goes with the orange. They're quite limited, actually. The power officers of the Rebel Citizens Militia exercise most frequently is imposing fines of up to 1,000 real for offenses, in accordance with an interdepartmental schedule. The RCM's primary role is to ensure safety. We are not really supposed to play any part in the economic... Yes, although indirectly. Officers of the RCM have been known to take bribes of less than the prescribed fine amount. It undermines. We can arrest people, of course, but rather than bringing someone in directly, it's preferable to serve a station closely. We are permitted to use whatever force we deem necessary, even lethal. Yes, the last time was for...
He says it matter-of-factly, and...
That's an improbability, perhaps even impossibility. Precinct 41 is known for a higher-than-average rate of police violence. We don't convict. We arrest and send them to court. You have to supply compelling evidence for why it was necessary to use lethal. Not a good position to be. The coalition government. The RCM was formed by the coalition government to restore order in the international zone after the revolution. So we did. Now we attempt to maintain that order. No more, no less. Or perhaps it is better to say we were allowed to form. It's a point of contention whether the citizens of Revachol or the coalition government founded the RCM. It's probably more honest, yes. Either way, the Moralist International are the world's largest political organization. You know who they are. They have been running this place after the revolution failed. They're a union of center-left and center-right parties across the Real Belt. Our coalition government is just one of its many projects. What do they believe in? They are the Lorraines. They believe they continue the humanist project set forth by our innocent. Interesting question. It's a blue forget-me-not.
Something kind and something something even a little feminine.
A historic figure? The author of the modern age? You will have to look elsewhere for opinions. The subject, the moral intern, are a fact. I try not to have a...
It is more than that. There's some kind of affection in him.
Yes, I did, when I was younger. In my 20s, I considered myself a moralist.
That's another leitmotif associated with him.
But the years have changed that. I don't know what I believe in now. Do you? We are in what is called the twilight of international law. The laws we claim to enforce come from the MI. Without them, we are simply vigilantes. Sadly, it is what we already are to the people of...
The lights of the orphan district are reflected in his glasses. The dying lights of the city. This soldier is the highlight of the day for me. He thinks.
They really don't like us here. And the mouth on that kid... Kuno. It's different in land, in Jamrock and the GRIA. It's our fault for leaving this place to the dogs, to the Union, to the company, not daring to come here more often. We run this city. West of the river is RCM land. It's incredibly hard. Human beings are... Me too. But I wouldn't count on any drastic change. Yeah, it's getting very cold now. Let's go. Yes? Yes?
The bed is cold and not particular. The sheets feel at once coarse and clammy against your skin. The bed sags beneath your weight. And then sleep doesn't come. Obviously, you're in bed with... Maybe it's the bed's fault. It's a little better. Colors, scenes, and half-formed phrases still litter your mind. Something to do with... What was it that the lieutenant said? Union? And it's something to do with... What was it that the lieutenant... Something to do with... Something to do with... Your breathing steadies. A great silence washes over you.
Do you remember the scent of your childhood? What it says on the can, Harry.
Answer the question. Do you remember your wife's hand on your face? Do you remember the warmth of her thighs, between her legs and in her mouth? You know who I am. I'm the bad day. The one where you ask her, and then later in the streets, reality will turn into a grotesque nightmare. This will be the last thing you did to her. Do you remember the warmth of her thighs, between her legs? You know, reality will turn into a grotesque nightmare. That's right, funky baby. And you just stood there. Tell me, where are your friends? Human beings have friends, Harry boy. Where the hell are yours? No, it's gone. 3 times gone and never come. You failed, Elysium. Everything. The pale and the useless. On the surface. The outer magnetosphere. You really dropped the ball, Harry. 4.6 billion people. And you failed every single one of them. You really fucked. You're not coming back from shit. Thrashing around in that high conductivity state of yours. Bumping into things and acting like a clown. Who you're trying to what? I can't hear you. This is just a word dream now. Jumbled up.
So something is wrong. Sleep shouldn't be this bad, this dry, this unnourishing. Oh yes, party boy, and it's worse than the one before. Just think of the shit you saw. Time to go to work in the shit factory.
Good going, buddy. Oh, just a dream. You have one. You mean, why are you so tired? Too tired and down to even think? It is worrying. It's just that your heart has finally pumped all this. Don't do that. Stay strong. The hangover will wear off. You don't need to keep doing this to yourself. Speed is a potent central nervous system stimulant. It kept you got up from this floor because of a holy vow you made 16 years ago. With me. Don't be silly. There was no vow. You were high on speed. That was the only reason you got up. You can't detect with. Are you sure? Ready to live as this pathetic shell of yourself for days? Basically, a week. Let's be honest. Suit yourself. Slow, sad. The bed is still... A mirror hangs on the bathroom wall. It's barely covered in steam anymore. It's too late. Like an image on film. The expression. The door is closed. Still nothing. Still nothing. This door